Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. I hope you guys are having a great day. Stay hydrated and safe. Now that Bryan Kohberger has admitted unaliving Kaylee Goncalves, Anna Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Ethan Chapin back on November 13th of 2022, we're learning more about him from newly released public documents. At the time of the crime, Bryan Kohberger was attending Washington State University, and he was a TA, teaching assistant. And now a source, an insider from Washington State University, is saying that Kohberger never took instruction well as a student there or a TA, and his work simply wasn't up to snuff, and that was straight out of the gate. The source said he was going to do things his way or not at all. And apparently he frequently missed classes where he was supposed to be the teaching assistant. Those were the classes taught by Professor John Snyder. Kohberger was supposed to be in the classroom assisting him. I'm suspecting that the reason he wasn't in class was because we've heard he was staying up all night, pacing around in his apartment. The people living below could hear all this activity all night long. And he does the same thing apparently, or at least he did in jail. We also know that Kohberger did not take feedback well from Professor Snyder, and this led to an altercation. It sounds like Kohberger had very little control of his temper. He did not like being told what to do. Maybe he thought his work was wonderful, but the professor did not, and it didn't go over well with Bryan. And this was the first time that Bryan had moved away from home and was living on his own. It sounds like maybe he should have stayed closer to Pennsylvania. Maybe his parents could have kept him in line. But who knows, of course. That's just wishful thinking. It sounds like he had no self-awareness. Because if he really wanted to succeed at that university, he would have to behave in a professional manner. As a TA, you have to show up for your classes. I know because I was a TA, and I did not assist a professor. I had to actually teach French myself. All they did was hand me a textbook. I was responsible for coming up with the lesson plans and how I was going to choreograph the class, so to speak. And it was a lot of work being a TA. So I don't know what went into Bryan Kohberger's mind. It sounds like he behaved when he was at DeSales University. So what was it that triggered this behavior in Washington? Was he able to just let loose because he was so far from home and far from the control of his parents maybe? And he just couldn't handle it? Basically, he sabotaged his potential at that university. They ultimately fired him from the TA-ship, which meant that he couldn't continue going there because he needed the financial support. And then, of course, he committed the crime. I guess he thought he wasn't going to get caught, though. But I think by the time his father showed up to do the cross-country drive home to Pennsylvania for Christmas, I think Kohberger knew that his days at WSU were over. Because he cleaned up his apartment, he cleaned up his office. There was very little left in the apartment. It seems to me that he wasn't planning to ever return there. He saw the writing on the wall, maybe. And he also wanted to get that white Elantra out of town. It sort of seems like nobody ever put him in his place. Nobody ever said, look, you're not always the person who's right. You don't know it all. There are things you can learn from other people. Sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut. Listen more than you talk. I am so curious about his relationship with his parents. We learned that he calls his mom and dad mother and father. So for example, when he would text the mother, he would say something like, why isn't father responding? Could that be part of his autism? That he doesn't sort of communicate the way other people do? I mean, my husband always called his mom mother, and so that's not really a big deal. It's just the way he wrote those text messages. Mother, why isn't father responding? Father, why isn't mother responding? Honestly, I feel sorry for his mother and his father. And if I had to give a victim impact statement when he was sentenced, I think I would have focused on Not only have you devastated all these people's lives, not that you care, but you've basically ruined your mother and father's lives as well. You have probably humiliated them, shocked them, mortified them. There's no way that they're proud of you for this. Your mother will probably always tell you that she loves you, but I wonder, deep down inside, is she terrified of you? Does she wonder every night, what did we do to create this monster? Or is she going to be like Brian Laundrie's mom, who just thinks everything her son does, or did rather, he's gone now, was hunky-dory? I am really hoping that the Kohbergers come out and give an interview. But will they? Or do they just want to sort of hide behind their gated community and try to be forgotten? Because let's face it, nobody wants to be associated with the name Bryan Kohberger. Unless, of course, they're writing a book and they stand to profit from it. Which, by the way, I would not blame his sisters if they wanted to write a book. It's not the mother, the father, or the sister's fault that he did this, at least as far as we know. If he suffered great abuse at the hands of his parents, emotional, physical, essay, then you could lay some blame at the parents' feet. But it doesn't sound like that's what went down here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time on Bed Crime Stories. Hey, please subscribe to my channel, and do hit